So we're back in Jinanine after having completed Amateria. Now that I think about it, what's this? Does that just bring the elevator up? Oh, that it does. Just in case you didn't lock the door, perhaps? Or unlock the door? They're always so thoughtful about these. Okay, so this is the one that we got most recently. Oh, that actually gives us a path over.
You've done well, my sons, but there's still one task ahead of you. The linking book you see here connects to an age called Narayan. It's a very delicate age, where civilization has emerged in response to the world's imbalances. It's also the first inhabited age I'm sending you to alone. But don't be afraid. The knowledge you've acquired here will show you the way in. Use it and see all that Narayan has to offer.
Wow. Speaking of, did we ever read? Did we ever read this? This is Atrus's journal. Oh. No, we haven't read this yet. Let's read this before we get into Narayan, because I don't know what will happen when we follow Saavedra there. Okay, so this is Atrus's journal. I always feared this day would come. For years, Catherine and I have dreamed of restoring Denis. We dedicated our lives to the task, taking it upon ourselves to locate the citizens of Denis and convince them to return to their ruined city and rebuild. Our dream has become the dream of so many now, and the progress we have made towards achieving it is something of which we can all be proud. But I know now that it has been a mistake. The city of Denis should not be restored. It should stand forever in ruins as both a symbol of our past mistakes and a memorial to all those who lost their lives when Denis fell. The devastating events of recent months, the war on Terahni? Oh, there's a war? And the death of Uta, in particular, have driven this truth home to me quite forcibly. If we rebuild the city walls today, we are not giving approval to the very illness that destroyed our civilization in the first place. Are we not setting ourselves up to repeat that pattern again from future generations? What wall is he referring to? I have put much thought into this tonight, and I have found only one solution. If we, the men and women who survived the downfall of Denis, are to thrive, then we must break the pattern of hatred which has destroyed so many lives. We must begin our civilization anew. And we can only do that if I write us a new age. I have spoken with Catherine about this, and she agrees. I only hope the others will see it as well. Will these people ever cease to amaze me? I thought that they would object to my decision. After all, most of them linked back to Denis specifically to see the city rebuilt. But when I told them why we should not restore it, their response was immediate and unanimous. Whereas yesterday they thought only of rebuilding, today they concentrate solely on salvage. They intend to take from their ruined city only that which is best and move on. Everywhere I look, the enthusiasm for this new task is obvious. It heartens me, even as I face my own monumental contribution. I have written many ages in my lifetime, from my first timid attempts under the tyrannical tutelage of my father to my most recent accomplishment, Averone. Never before has so much been riding on my skill. The age I am about to write must be all I've ever imagined and more. How am I going to achieve it? Catherine laughed this morning when she saw me drudging out my old notebooks. I must have made quite the picture, sitting near the embers of a fire, surrounded by countless commentaries and journals. Some of them seem more dust than paper, but the hours I spent sifting through them was worth it. Ideas for what this new age might be are tumbling around in my head. There are almost too many to catch hold of. Obviously, I must choose some starting point as my anchor. Writing ages is a science, a precisely structured equation of words. Every equation needs its foundation and an underlying concept around which the age can develop. In the past, I've written my books around whatever idea intrigued me most of the time. I wanted to discover how the age to which the book linked to would manifest the results of that idea. Sometimes civilizations had arisen, sometimes they had not. But whether a society had come to exist on an age or not, it was often in response to whatever concept the book I had written embodied. This time, my search for concept must be weighed very carefully. I already have the civilization I wish to see develop. I know our history as a people and the paths we have followed to arrive here. Today, I must write a book which will link us into an age that will allow us to continue on our way, growing ever stronger as one people. What underlying concept must this new age reflect that will best allow our civilization to thrive? I fear I must think on this some more. It has taken me some time, but I may have found my anchor. It came to me as I was considering what I know about the survivors of Denis. We have seen so much tragedy in our lives, from the destruction of the city, to the suffering and loss of loved ones due to plague and deprivation. Yet in the midst of these adversities, my kinsman and I have found the strength to keep going. We have tapped into our individual strengths and transformed ourselves into something much stronger. It is a characteristic I have seen in several of my ages, whenever I focused my writing on the inherent energy sources in the world. Long ago, grandmother taught me that no possibility for life in an age exists without the presence of energy. Atrus's grandmother is Tiana, by the way. I believe in the first game when we were exploring Myst, we actually saw her gravestone amongst the trees. By tapping into its latent energy sources, an age moves out of stasis. It grows, transforms, and develops. Energy is the underlying fuel that powers all activity. To put it more simply, energy powers future motion. Now, those words are in bold, so I think I'm going to write them down. Energy powers future motion. Yet, as grandmother also liked to remind me, energy in an age takes on diverse forms. Each one has strengths and weaknesses of its own. How many forms will this new age contain? Which type will be its dominant theme? Tomorrow, I will link back to Myst, and from there revisit several of my ages. Perhaps in my old worlds, I will discover new ideas. In a way, when he's talking about writing these ages, he's almost talking about world building for like a novel. I find that really interesting. I'd almost forgotten how painful it was to revisit Myst. In the 10 years since my sons, Cirrus and Akinar, left me trapped on Kavir Island and burned so many of my books, Catherine and I have rarely linked back. I told myself we were always too busy. First, with writing ages like Averone, then with searching the ages of Denis for survivors. I always said that we would spend more time on Myst eventually. The truth is, I have been avoiding the age. Seeing the island in its current condition ignites such anger and grief. I'm immediately reminded of the betrayal of my sons, as well as the cruelty and greed with which they plundered my ages. I know I am partly responsible for these acts. I constantly wonder if there was something I could have done to reach out to my boys before... Enough. Nothing can change the tragedies of the past. Like my Denis kinsman, I must salvage what is best and move on. Perhaps in the process, I will find forgiveness and hope. Once again, I'm back on Myst Island, having completed a lengthy sojourn through several of my ages. The trip itself was not as inspired as I had hoped. The Selenitic age was especially disturbing. But has it not always been so? The Selenitic age is the one that we got to with the spaceship, and it had all those bizarre sounds that we had to bring up to the microphones, and that endless submarine ride. The very first time I linked into the age, its uninhabited landscape was shaking with tremors. At the time, I felt it was because the energy of the age was unfocused, as if it were at war with itself. Stability finally came, but even after it did, I never truly felt comfortable there. I missed the more natural balance of the ages like Channelwood. Perhaps that is the lesson to take home with me. The Dini, too, have faced much turmoil in history. Their lives have been unsettled enough. Perhaps I should be striving to offset the energy that already exists within our civilization by providing it with a more stabilized environment in which to grow. An environment in which the natural equilibrium of the world serves as a counterpoint to the upheavals of civilization. So it means he probably wants to write a world with maybe more trees, maybe more natural environments. That sounds good. The more I consider it, the more I wonder if I should make nature the foundation of this new age. Worlds like Channelwood was the one with all the water and the trees growing up out of it, attain equilibrium quite easily, primarily because of one reason. Nature encourages mutual dependence. I'll write that one down. Nature encourages mutual dependence. And that is true. If anything, I think Adana captured that idea very much because, it was nature. All of the mechanisms that we were using weren't mechanisms. They were actually plants and animals. And like the squee would squeal to make those polyp-like vegetation expand. And that served as a way for us to get around. The cuttlefish dwelled in the water, and it provided electricity to zap the Venus flytrap plant. Some of the plants reacted to sunlight, like the bridge, and the sunlight could be bounced around by the irises so that we could eventually free the cuttlefish. All of the plants and animals reacted to one another, and that was really interesting. It was awesome. So that's the mutual dependence. As one life withers and dies, it provides nourishment so that another might live. Plants become food for other animals, and the waste products of animals that the animals cannot absorb become nutrients to sustain the other plants. So long as nothing intrudes to upset this balance, nature can maintain itself indefinitely. That is true. Outside of humans and natural disasters and invasive species and stuff, an ecosystem is pretty stable. An interesting metaphor to set as an example for my people. I think I will confer with Catherine on this subject. Her ages always exhibit symbiosis more dramatically than mine. Perhaps she should help me write this new age. I am so tired. I can barely think right now. But I will force myself to stay focused, for I have not written anything in days. The moment I linked back to Denis, I was besieged with requests for my assistance. Master Taman, he's the guy that Atrus was writing to about the padlocks, wanted to consult over which stonecutters were worth salvaging. And did I think the rock in this new age would be difficult to sound? Oma and Essel needed my opinion about a new history they had uncovered. Should they hold off on starting its translation? Or would paper supplies be scarce in the new age? There were so many questions needing answers. I barely had time to see Catherine. Well, they should definitely find an age that can make paper. Trees, specifically. But if he's already going for the natural route, then he's well on his way there. She, of course, laughed at my dilemma, saying that I had no one to blame but myself. After all, I was the one who encouraged the need to start over. Naturally, they looked to me to keep them moving in the right direction. Unless some other force stepped in to change that view. Her words made me realize a fundamental principle that I had thus far been ignoring. All this time, I had been debating whether to make energy or nature the underlying framework for the ages. But there's another equation to consider. An age based solely on the future motion of energy will face constant upheaval, most likely at the cost of tranquility. So, devolving into chaos, essentially. and an age based solely on the mutual dependence of nature can become so balanced over time, it may cease to tolerate change. Yet to continue to grow as a people, Dini civilization needs both. Occasional upheavals followed by periods of balanced stability. I've seen such situations occur naturally on several of my ages. Each time, it was because I centered the writing around some dynamic force that I had decided to make prevalent in the age. Such forces allowed the balance between forward motion and mutual dependence to fluctuate. As one concept takes precedence, the other recedes until another force surfaces to change things. As Catherine's insightful comment reminded me, dynamic forces spur change. Dynamic forces spur change. I am too tired to think more on this tonight. Hopefully, in the morning, my thoughts will coalesce. Catherine surprised me today. Apparently, while I was off visiting my ages, she linked to Myst by herself. She did not say so, but I could tell that her visit had been painful. More than ever now, I am convinced we must find a place to begin again ourselves. Perhaps, when I have written this new age for the Dini, I'll put some thought into where Catherine and I might live. I could not believe I did not see it before. All this time I've been struggling to describe the perfect age for the Dini. I've considered and then rejected several underlying concepts which I felt might be best set course for their future, as if I alone should determine how Dini civilization will grow. In my own way, I've become as egotistical as my father. In truth, I owe this realization to Catherine. Sensing my indecision about the new age, she led me on a walk around Dini. Salvaging efforts were well underway, with teams of people scouring the ruins' harbor district. As I watched my Dini kinsmen decide which parts of their culture to retain, I realized that they do not need me to determine their future. They are quite capable of setting their own course by themselves, regardless of what age I write. This realization has opened my eyes to the best way of approaching my task. I no longer need to worry about which underlying concept, energy, nature, or dynamic forces, I should make prevalent in the age. Rather, I must strive to include them all. I must write a balance of systems into the descriptive book, enough so that the Dini people will constantly be challenged to attain their ultimate potential. As grandmother often pointed out to me when we spoke about ages back on Myst, balanced systems simulate civilizations. Balanced systems stimulate civilizations. At last, I feel I'm ready to begin writing this age. Indeed, I'm eager to begin and have already come up with a perfect name. I know my grandmother would have loved it. Of course, Catherine could tell the moment I turned to her that I had finally found my starting point. I babbled on excitedly for some time before I noticed the smile she was hiding. When I saw enough to grow suspicious, she handed me one of my oldest age books. She must have picked it up from when we linked back to Myst. Seeing the name, Jinanin, emblazoned on the book cover, I could only shake my head. The one age I never got around to revisiting was the one that might have helped me the most. How foolish was I to have completely forgotten it. I think, after I have finished this work, I should take one final trip, if only to help restore an old fool's memories. And that's it. So, we got a couple of interesting word combinations, and he was describing his method by which that he would write the new age. And these worlds, I mean, Adana's nature encourages mutual dependence, energy powers future motion. Maybe the motion part is for Amateria. Dynamic forces spur change. Maybe that's like voltaic. There's only one place left to go. The purple book. Narayan. All right, here we go. And that must be the shield. It's like a crystal surrounding everything. And everything within looks so organic. Their roots and... Oh, look at this. Nature, love, void, energy, intelligence, entropy, force, transform, mutual, contradict, society, chaos, change, machine, power, possibility, growth, civilization, future, cycle, convey, encourage, spur, infinite, merge, dependence, wisdom, dynamic, motion, harmony. Well, these look like our words. Let's write them down. Energy. Okay. Energy. It looks like an E with the little thing on the side, so whoop. Energy. Powers. Where is powers? Oh, there we go. Powers. All right. So it sort of looks like a W with a little dash on the side, so. Powers. Future motion. There's future. Future. It's sort of that little thing at the top. It curls around there, and then it curls around there too. Future. Where's motion? Wisdom. There's motion. Motion. Okay. So we got the first one. Nature encourages mutual dependence. Well, we know nature is up there. Nature. Nature encourages, I think encourages was over here. Yeah, encourages. I like that symbol a lot. Encourages mutual dependence. Mutual. Mutual is right there. It sort of looks like a weave, like a DNA. And it just goes up the side. Mutual dependence. There's dependence. It's sort of like the opposite of encourage. All right. And then the second to last one is dynamic forces spur change. We need to find dynamic. There's dynamic. It sort of looks like a wave. Dynamic forces. Force. There's force. Writing that down. Force. Okay. Spur. There's spur. Spur is an upper circle with a little line on the bottom of it. A little side ring, but only one half of it. Spur. Change. There's change. Cute. Looks like a little bud or something. Change. Okay, and then the last one is balance systems stimulate civilizations. So balance. Savager probably can't get back to his people because he doesn't have these phrases that we do from Atrus. Oh, come on, balance. Is there no balance? Because that's nature, love, void, energy, intelligence, entropy, force, transform, society, chaos, mutual, change, growth, civilization, future cycle, encourage, convey, spur, infinite, merge, dependence, dynamic, harmony. Wait, where's balance? Nature, love, energy, void, entropy, intelligence, force, transform, mutual, contradict, society, chaos, change, power, possibility, civilization, growth, future, convey, spur, infinite, entropy. I mean, balance and harmony could work, but are there tapestries that we're missing? I'll get the other one. Systems. Where's systems? Huh. I don't see systems either. Stimulate. I don't see stimulate either. Civilization. I mean, there's society. You see, there's civilization. Civilization. Yeah, balanced systems stimulate civilization. So I wonder why balanced systems stimulate isn't here, unless we're supposed to interpret it as another one. Oh, so there's a skiff, but it seems to be outside the bubble. And there's like a shield. And there's a lever. Doesn't seem to do anything. I mean, where does that go? Oh, there's two panels. Doesn't want to open. That doesn't want to open either. looks like I have to figure out what's up with this in particular. Okay, well, is there a kind of switch or an activation around here? No. There's a stairway. Oh, that's another good thing. I don't believe there's any pages around here. So I see a bunch of floating... You know, there's a lot floating around, but not much to see. Up. Uh-oh. It's Savedro.
What? You're not... Where is he? Look, I know he's here. I have his book. So where is he? He didn't come. I take Releeshan from him, and he sends you instead. Idiot. You actually thought this would work. You thought that you could force him into coming here, fixing things? Why? Why would he rewrite Narayan? Because of your messages? Because of your paintings? Look at your world. Look at what's left of it. When are you gonna get it through your thick skull that you do not matter to him? Could be alive out there. No one. We're stuck here, you know. The linking book back to Chananan is gone. Left behind when I linked out of Atrus' study. And as for getting in to Narayan, look around you. This chamber is the only way in. And Atrus installed some kind of shield, and I have never been able to get past it. Not once in all these years. So you're just as stuck here as I am. At least until I open this book. And I show Atrus what it's like to watch your friends and relatives die. If you do find a way out of here, I suggest that you think very carefully about using it. Because the one thing I know about linking books, the doors they open